Mental Health Monday
on Radio City Talk
with Mick Coyle.
Tackling the stigma.
Radio City Talk.
And welcome to another edition of Mental Health Monday. My name is Mick Coyle. Brilliant guest once again on the programme this week. You're going to be talking about the work that they do. And as ever, if you want to get involved in the programme, we want to hear from you. You've got recommendations of great guests, great organisations who are doing fabulous work in the world of mental health. Drop me an email. Tell me about it. mick@radiocity.co.uk. That's mick@radiocity.co.uk. Now, we've got a big old long list of people who are doing things. Sometimes, though, events mean that you might be bumped up the list because there are things that are going on relevant to the organisation. Sometimes it's summer fairs, different things going on. What about this for this week's guest, though, who are performing at Wembley? We're talking about the iChoir, and from the iChoir, we've got Olga Snell, Chris Snell, and Cath McDonough with us in the studio. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for being on the programme. Olga, we've met many times before. Well, it's a pleasure to see you once again. Tell us about the iChoir and how the idea for the iChoir came about.
It's good to see you again. Well, it started just over 14 years ago. I worked for a mental health charity, myself and Cath, who's here. And it started as a staff choir, and then, you know, the people who used the service were invited. And then it sort of grew organically from then. We didn't continue on with the mental health charity. We sort of became separate from that, and people liked it. People started coming. They enjoyed it. It was a social thing, and it just built from there, really. And here we are.
Tell us about the name, the iChoir.
Well, it's because it was the charity was Imagine, but then we sort of broke away from them. We still had that art, the I, so we thought it represented I, independence, and sort of stuff like that. Now it was just sort of went from there, really.
And it fits in quite nicely, doesn't it, with this new generation of technologies, iPhones. Yeah. You got the iPhone, you may as well join the iChoir.
Well, exactly. We're still waiting to hear.
Certainly are other phones available. Chris joining in the conversation, playing the part of the disclaimer. I like that. If you could do that throughout the whole conversation, that would be absolutely brilliant. So we've got Chris Snell and Cath McDonough with us in the studio. Cath, when you first started singing with the iChoir,
yeah.
Obviously, because you were born out of sort of a mental health organisation, were you thinking about mental health while you were singing, or does part of it just say, actually, we just want to sound good, we want to enjoy ourselves, we want to be able to perform?
Well, I guess from my perspective, I've always sung, and singing always lifts my mood. So it was kind of a bit of both. It was we love to sing, and it makes you feel good. So it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? So it's going to help it. If it's going to help me, I suppose, and us, surely it's going to help other people.
What does that feel like? What's the hit? I'm sure there's some sort of scientific term around endorphins or something like that.
There is. Happy dolphins, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what it lifts your mood. It definitely lifts your mood. Whether it's the singing, it's the taking part, it's being with a group of people with a shared interest. It's that social interaction. It all lifts your mood.
And does that start the moment you step in the door when you've got a practice session, or is there key moments within songs where you can feel it sort of bursting out of your chest?
Do you know what? I think I can only speak about myself, but for me, it starts on the actual day when I know, especially if I've had a really stressful day, and I think, oh, I'm going to choir later. And that instantly makes me feel better, that I know that I'm going to choir. And if I don't go because of work, because I've had to stay late or whatever, I can really feel it. I really feel that I've missed out, and you definitely notice the difference if you miss a week or two.
Tell us about the numbers. How many people, Olga, are involved on a weekly basis?
It depends. If we're all there's about 36 of us, and people come and go. It's very very open. They come and if they're not feeling great, they don't have to come. But generally, there's 20 to 30 at the rehearsals every week, so that's quite good.
Now you've got a big gig coming up.
We have.
Now, this is probably fair to say this might be the biggest gigs of your life.
Well, yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, the choir are very excited.
So, and I sound like I'm talking this up, but it's a big deal because you're playing Wembley. You're going to be singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" ahead of the Community Shield.
That's right.
Now, tell us about how that opportunity comes back, because apparently Prince William's involved in this somewhere, so I presume he's got your phone number.
Well, funny you should say that. Yeah, I'm practicing my curtsy. Well, the choir did get funding in the past from Time to Change, and we had singing workshops, songwriting workshops, where the idea was to discuss mental health just naturally and then get lyrics together and write and then sing about it. So the link came, we got sort of linked to Time to Change, and then they got in touch about this because of our past history. So that's how we got chosen for this. And we are the go-to mental health choir in Liverpool.
So you're representing Liverpool, because Liverpool versus Manchester City. So you've got,
Yeah.
I don't want to say a rival choir, but they're called B Vocal. Is that right? And they're going to be singing Blue Moon, I think it is.
Blue Moon.
Versus You'll Never Walk Alone.
Yeah.
So when you open...
No contest.
I mean, but when you open, your lungs up on that one, you're singing an anthem there.
That's right.
For the people of Liverpool, for the supporters of Liverpool,
Yeah.
that means so much to them for many,
does.
many different reasons as well. What a great opportunity that is.
It is. It's a brilliant opportunity, and we're really sort of grateful for it. And, we're just, fingers crossed, it's all going to go very, very well.
Great
We're
opportunity.
geared up.
Absolutely. Do you know what time you're on? Have you got like a schedule? Because, of course, Wembley's high security. You'll be drafted down, access all areas.
Yeah, well, I think kickoff is 3:00. So we'll be sort of waiting to get up on stage or whatever. I don't know whether we're on a stage or the flat, and just sing out our hearts. Oh, really?
Incredible opportunity. Let's bring Chris Snell into the conversation as well. Chris, when people are talking about an opportunity like this, there'll be plenty of people going, I'm going to be incredibly nervous, but there'll be a mixture of nervous and excitement. Do you think on the day there'll be people who are kind of geeing each other up, supporting people? Because, if you've got, for instance, anxiety, panic attack and things like the idea of singing in front of 90,000 people, do you think that might be an issue that some might have to deal with on the day?
Well, the choir has always been, even when we do small gigs locally, very supportive of each other. So should any of those issues arise, it's never been a problem in the past. And part of the deal is, don't think that you're standing in front of an enormous stadium. Just think of it in terms of singing at your best. Don't get lost in your own little internal world that might bring on these symptoms.
Tell us about that sense of community that comes around while you're actually performing, when you're mixing with the group. And of course, things that you're doing directly impacts on the person next to them and the person onto them. I guess as a choir, you become an entity in and of yourselves.
Well, you do. You've done your homework, because part of the deal when you sing in a choir is you must be able to listen or hear the people that are singing next to you, so that you can match them and blend with them and so on. It brings you out of your own little world and into the world that you're in, surrounded by. And so you're not in your internal self-traffic, and you start to tune in with those around you. It's a great tool for that purpose, just getting out of yourself. So self-awareness starts to be
Does that turn
enhanced.
itself into mindfulness?
It does. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much.
Damn good, aren't I? I should do this for a living.
Should do this for a living.
Have you ever thought?
In regard to that one, when you've got that moment where everybody's on pitch, everybody's doing the right thing, can you feel it in and among yourselves? Do you feel it yourself as an individual thinking, we are sounding great today? Or does it take somebody from the outside to look in and go, you sounded great from this point of view? Or do you think, we're nailing this?
You sort of get the feeling of nailing it, because you're in that little group, and you're all sort of bonded together, singing at the same thing, and you want to do it the best. You do know when you're sort of sounding great and when it's on. Yeah.
It's palpable. After you finish singing a section or whatever, I'm looking directly at the choir, so I can see the faces, and you see that sense of yes, we nailed that one.
Singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the Community Shield is quite the thing at Wembley Stadium as well, with all the interest around it. Prince William turns out he's chair of the FA as well, so heads together, obviously involved in this one. A good example, if you like, Chris, of the fact that mental health is very much a mainstream thing. They thought, right, who's going to sing these songs? We can turn to mental health charities without having to go, digging for them. They've found, organisations which are up and running, which have got credibility and have got talent as well. They can make this work at the biggest stage.
And the question is?
Well, I guess the point I'm making there is that it's a good example of mental health being in the mainstream, and actually this
definitely,
is people aren't necessarily going to go, well, why is there a mental health choir? They're going to go, oh, these guys are a mental health choir, and they're singing at Wembley, which I think maybe is a sign that we're taking the right steps forward, and Prince William's leading that.
Yeah, no, that and that's point taken, and I think that we're well past the time. I mean, we did the project with Time to Change 3 years ago, and hopefully that sparked an interest in general in the community, and I think we're well overdue for this kind of dialogue just in general in the community. So I'm really pleased the FA have taken up the mantle to push it forward. It's great to reach that many people through football, obviously. It reaches a massive audience, not just locally, nationally, internationally. It's the beautiful game.
Cath, the players, of course, will be warming up while you're performing.
They will.
What will your warm-ups be? Do you do some jumping jacks and some
yeah,
some
all the time.
What are the things that you do to prepare when you're about to sing?
We do vocal exercises, but we won't be doing those on the pitch. We'll be doing those
but in the tunnel.
in the tunnel, yeah.
That's not a bad place to be doing your vocal exercises there.
No.
Many a great
No,
football
it's not.
player and rugby league player and a pop star and rock star and everything in
I know.
between. It's going to be, I mean, presumably a lot of people are going to be taking lots of photos as well. And you're singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," which is a relatively short song, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess the danger is that it's all over before you realise it's gone. You're going to have to sort of just absorb and enjoy every single moment of it.
Yeah, it's going to be... It's an amazing opportunity, and what an experience it's going to be. Yeah.
Are you all going to be wearing like football shirts? Or...
No.
We have special T-shirts.
We haven't seen them yet.
We're assuming it's heads-up T-shirts because, of course, the message that the FA want to get across is that you need to look after your mental health as much as your physical health. People... It's quite common to, oh yes, I've got a pain in my leg, I've got a broken leg, whatever. But as soon as you mention mental health, people tend to back away a bit.
Absolutely.
So, we want to make sure that people are looking after their mental health as well as their physical. Because it all starts here, doesn't it? And then we want to make it good for people to talk to each other, open up. That's one thing about the choir. The choir where, people join, we don't push people to say anything, do anything. It just sort of builds. If they want to talk to someone, they can. We support each other. So that's why I think the choir's gone on for so long. It's just people are sort of... We're a friendly bunch, but we're empathetic. We understand. And we just accept each other, who as we are. And we're a community choir. It's a mix of everybody. So... Some people may have more severe issues than others, but we all just sort of get along and look after each other.
We've got Olga, we've got Chris, we've got Cath with us in the studio from the iChoir. Now, if you text the word "heads up," all one word, to 85258, you can connect with a trained crisis volunteer, and that's all part of the Heads Up mission being put forward by the Duke of Cambridge. That's Prince William, who is also the chair of the FA. That's "heads up," all one word, to 85258. Cath, Olga hinted before that, it's not about come in and talk about your mental health, but obviously you've created an environment where people are comfortable with their mental health. What does that mean to you? What does that look like? What does that sound like, if you like?
It looks like any community. It just it's just people talking to each other and listening, being supportive, and I'm just non-judgmental.
I think sometimes
Obviously.
when we talk about, the ability to have these conversations, and these conversations can be quite difficult, I think when people kind of get used to having these conversations, in some ways they become quite mundane. They can be quite, how are you feeling today? And I think that's when we realise that we do have these conversations anyway.
Yeah, we
in
do.
everyday
At
life.
bus stops, in taxis. Taxi drivers always tell me everything that's going on in their lives. But yeah, we do. We do. And I think, I suppose, especially in the last few years with the advance of technology and everything's online, and younger people, I think in particular, sometimes may have lost that ability to speak to each other because everything's online. And I think for me, it's that interaction and that being with somebody.
Do you think
talking to somebody and having them there and knowing there's someone you can speak to if you've got a problem, rather than just carrying it and it builds up and builds up and builds up.
Obviously, singing and music brings with it its own story, but do you get a sense that even if you were a crochet group or a 10-ping bowling group or a different type of group,
definitely, without a doubt,
you'd have that same sort of vibe, because it was about community, it was about people coming together and meeting face to face.
Yeah.
And that's a good example maybe of why people might think, well, singing's not for me, a choir's not for me. But a different organisation, get involved in ceramics or pottery or different types of sport might be the thing for them to create those environments. Chris, are we losing? Do you feel like we've lost that a little bit in society? Cath suggested, with young people, and I think it's a very good point, that maybe we feel like we're connecting with people, but we're doing it digitally. Those face-to-face conversations, they're so important, aren't they?
Well, they are. And what we discovered when we did the workshops for Time to Change, that people soon warmed up and were very forthcoming about their own mental health. People that sometimes you didn't expect anything. Some person in the corner suddenly starts being very chatty about it. But it's very important, of course, the face-to-face thing. And in fact, one of the songs that we ended up with on the CD from that series of workshops, in it, it's about how we are glued to our phones, our online technology, and we've stopped actually speaking with each other, which is more important than anything, as you just pointed out. Definitely.
It is one of those strange sort of things where you go, oh, how many friends have you got? I've got, looks at your phone, 17,000 friends. Well, are they going to help you move house? Are they going to lend you 25 quid when you're a little bit short at the end of the month? That's one of those. That's one of the sort of the things in society we have now, where we feel, Olga, like we've never been more connected with anyone, anywhere on the planet.
Yes, and in that song we say, we're all connected, but we're disconnected because we rely on that because the choir's a community. That's the thing as well. I think we need to I think that things are improving. I mean, there's loads of choirs now that talk about, singing for well-being, so that's good. We were the first ones, but it's great that it's spreading out, to do that. I mean, it is a special choir, though. It is a different sort of vibe. It is. I think you notice that right away, and I think a lot of people say, "Oh, we don't sing for long enough. We don't do this for long enough when they can." But that's part of it. It's always been singing and socialising, break for tea, talk, get back. And then people have gone off into separate groups. If you're not separate groups, I mean, sort of, they'll talk to one another and then they'll go on and do something else, and then they learn and grow and change.
Do you think people need to find an excuse to get into that environment? And if the excuse is joining a choir, then great. If it's maybe a football session, then great.
Football, anything that gets you. I think so. Yeah, I think anything that gets you into. Like a social network, really. It is.
Social network. There you go.
I mean, and now GPs are, doing social prescribing because it's found that it does work. It does work. Social prescribing does work. The choir has changed, and I can say this hand on heart: we've changed many people's lives for the better. People who didn't believe in themselves, have gone on to do other things. In fact, we're victims of our own success because people get, they change, they get growing confidence. Then they might go off and join, something else or a choir or instrumental group or something like that. They grow, and you can see it happening before you. So
And some of
Yeah.
those people are going to be hearing that you're playing Wembley this weekend and be
know.
thinking, oh, if I'd have just stayed in a little bit longer.
Yeah, they will. There will be
Went
a
back
few.
to college. That was fun.
Yeah, we had someone who, had severe and enduring mental health issues, and he went back to college and to do music. He went back to the I don't know what it's called now, the community college. Yeah, Liverpool College. Yeah, and did music. Well, that was a huge thing for him. And just while I'm on the radio, another thing we don't think about, that same person, Chris here, happened to bump into his sister. He didn't know that it was this chap's sister. And then they got talking, and, because Chris got a Canadian accent, she goes, do you run a choir? And he said, yes. And she said, well, my brother goes to that choir, and he hasn't been hospitalised for like a year or two since he joined the choir. So it has a huge impact on the rest of the family that you don't even think about, because they were so happy that he would have found something that was so good.
Well, and that's just one individual story.
We can tell you a few more if you've got an hour.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But again, another example there where sometimes when people talk about a mental health crisis, we always presume that the answers will be, that will come from on high, that a politician will come up with all these ideas. But actually there, we're talking about community organisations, people coming together in community spaces and actually finding solutions among themselves. They're not going to solve everyone's problems, but if everybody, could have that connection through, be it music or sport or craft or culture, whatever it might be, that could make a world of difference to people's lives.
And the FA, of course, that's the whole thing, because the footballers are out there footballing in teams and things like that. So it'd be great to just think you can just tell someone that you're not feeling great, and there's pressures on sportsmen as well. Imagine the mental health things that they experience. It's not just when it was man on the street or stars or whatever.
We're focusing also on the people themselves who are struggling, and what we sometimes forget is that in fact they're extended families. So the person we were referring to earlier, that sister said to me, you have no idea how this has impacted our family in a positive way. It's just relieved us of this whole cycle of being re-hospitalized or whatever the issues were. They could travel with this person, stuff that they couldn't do before, because he felt so much better about his life in general. He was off that trap, that sort of regular cycle that people tend to fall into if they get very ill.
And what a great credit to the work of the iChoir as well. Some people might say, Cath, well, it's just singing though, isn't it? It's just people getting in a room and singing together. And I guess if you can say, that's exactly what it is. And that's maybe how simple the solution to some people and for some people might be.
I think that's true in general of, like Olga was saying about social prescribing, that's true in general about everything. It is so simple, but we've stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And once people make that first step, which is the hardest step usually, especially if you've become isolated because of your mental health. And I know myself, if I stay in one day, it's so easy for me to think up reasons, lots of really good reasons why I don't need to go to the shop. I don't need to go out the next day. It's very, very quickly. If you're not feeling great, you can go down. So that first step, to go to the choir, and we're always very welcoming of people, and it's not magical. It's just what we do as humans, but sometimes we forget.
I think there's a little bit of sprinkle of magic in here.
Maybe.
Most things that you're involved in, Olga, have a little sprinkle of magic. I know it's just your hair. It's your hair that makes the difference. But that idea of social isolation is something which has come around, and now I see that as one of the main themes that people are talking about social isolation. And the way it used to be talked about of very elderly who wouldn't see people for a long period of time. Now when we talk about social isolation, we're actually talking about people who have got work, who are in work all the time, that have got kids, that have got families, and they're feeling isolated through their own existence, and it's for 1,000,001 different reasons as well. But what you've just described there in the last sort of 25 minutes or so is an organisation that breaks through that isolation, that gives people a reason to join in with an organisation, which comes with it community, a chat, the ability to look at other people, feel that, the vibes from other people as well. And that can break through that isolation. You really get a sense, Olga.
Yeah, I mean, we had a new person join us a couple of weeks ago, and then she didn't really know about the ethos of the choir. I mean, it's a community choir. And I was talking to her, and I was saying about going to Wembley and the whole the idea behind that, Heads Up, and what's going on, and mental health. And she said, that's what I could have done with after the death of my husband. She'd gone right down, and of course she'd never equated that with having mental health issues, or anything to do with her mental health. She just thought, well, you've got to go through it, get on with it. And now she's just so happy she's joined us, because now she can sort of, she feels like belonging and sort of happy, and she can talk to people, and we'll listen as well. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's very prescriptive.
No.
I mean, we just come and sing, but it just sort of happens. Because people feel comfortable, then, they stay. We do call it the self-regulating choir, because you either like it as it is, because when we don't sort of line up and sing and then just go home. It's got more to it. It's more of a social
the buzz
aspect.
after a rehearsal.
They all go to the pub.
No, it takes a good 10 minutes to get everyone out the door.
Yeah, because they're all talking.
That's definitely a good
at that point. And it does get your system on a positive buzz. It really does. And it's really hard to get people out the door sometimes.
If people are hearing about this and are thinking, maybe I'll take a look at the iChoir, are you open to people joining the choir? Can people?
Absolutely.
Always. Yeah.
What do people need to know about? What do people need to know about the wheres and the whens and contacting you? What do people need to know? What's the best advice?
Well, we rehearse every Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30 at St Bride's Church on Percy Street, L8. So you just come along, and you don't have to sing the first time. You can just sort of sit and listen and sort of, see how it feels, and just join in.
And that's Tuesday, 6:30 until 8:30.
Yeah,
might go on a bit longer.
Tuesday.
At St Bride's
we
in L8.
We hire rehearsal space at St Bride's. It's quite nice, and there's a kitchen, great acoustics. We can have a cup of tea halfway. And
she prioritised the kitchen over the acoustics there.
Yeah, well, sometimes it does happen like that. Yeah.
And if people want to find out more information about Heads Up, there's loads of information through the FA's website as well. And people can also text Heads Up to 85258 if you want to connect with a trained crisis volunteer. That's a text service. You can get involved in that one. I know that the charity partners in regard to the FA work in regard to Heads Up, Mind, Calm, Sporting Chance and Heads Together, all working hard for that one as well. Heads Up, all one word, to 85258. It seems like the Wembley gig is sort of the icing on the cake, but I kind of get a sense as well from the team that it's in many ways a continuation of the great work and success of the choir.
We'll still be there next Tuesday.
Absolutely, no matter what. LA is the place to be.
Yeah.
St Bride's Church as well, with their souvenirs from Wembley and the Community Shield as well. Thanks to Olga Snell, Chris Snell and Cath McDonough. Thanks for joining us on Mental Health Monday. Really appreciate you joining us on the programme.
Thank you.
It's Radio
Thanks
City
very
Talk, Mental Health Monday, every Monday on the programme. If you want to get involved, you can do. If you've got a great story to tell us, to share with us, drop us an email, mick@radiocity.co.uk. That's mick@radiocity.co.uk. I'll just mention the iChoir again. They have their practice sessions, 6:30 until 8:30 every Tuesday in St Bride's Church. That's in L8.
Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
On Radio City Talk.